joining us, Mr. Bhavik Mehta. Thank you for joining us. Let us talk today about the reaction of the Emirati markets, a reaction that we have witnessed now that we have recovered some of the levels for the Dubai and Abu Dhabi markets. How can we actually read this mood that we are reading when it comes to the markets? You have the floor.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. What's happening with this month's trading is traders in the markets are trying to find some sort of support, kind of dip buying kind of thing, because over the last 3 months we have seen both the indices dropping by in the range of 10 to 12%. So I would say June is fairly optimistic when you compare it with the losses of the past 3 months. Now, the other big thing that I feel is playing on the traders' minds is the round psychological numbers. So for ADX index, we are talking about the psychological number of 9,000. Similarly, for the DFM index, we're talking about the 4,000 level. So that is a key hurdle, a key resistance level that needs to be cleared for more bullish uptick in the market.
Yes, but probably the movement that we are now witnessing when it comes to some of the shares, and of course, let us determine the most important shares, the leading shares in the Emirati markets during those movements. How can we read today that the investor is now focusing on the more speculative shares compared to the more leading shares?
See, what we are witnessing in today's session is a classic case of markets. Traders trying to square off their position before the next week's Eid holidays. So, mind you, we are living in, if you look at the current month liquidity, it has been fairly solid for the top kept stocks. So, if you look at the performance, month to date performance of top stocks like Emirates NBD, FAB, it has been fairly solid. Now, with regards to your question on the markets trying to, bet on the speculative stocks, I wouldn't go far and say that the markets are closing big positions. I would say this is just a tactical square off before the next week's holidays. Again, DFM index, a stock like Deva, it needs to recover hard and fast because that is continuing to be a big drag on the index.
So do you believe today that when it comes to what the world markets are looking at, when it comes to the Fed, to what extent will the tone of the Fed be clear and to give clear indicators to the market?
The most important thing that the markets and the analysts are going to look at is the projections of the dot plot. So at this point of time, traders are usually speculating that we are going to see at least a minimum of 2 rate cuts. This is something that is expected from the projections as well as Powell's statement. But again, if you look at the inflation numbers, the wage growth that is happening in US, that is surprise to the upside. So any indication of any statement by Powell that that the rates might be held lower, higher for longer, and even signaling just 1 rate cut or no rate cut at all, that's going to see a big selling wave over the next 2 sessions till Friday. But going by the past profile of FOMC, how Chair Powell has conducted himself, it's largely going to be in line with the market expectations of at least 2 rate cuts for the year.